George was a liar of the highest order. He'd promise cures for ailments he couldn't treat, suppress good news, and inflate every minor ache into a death sentence. Even when a patient recovered, he'd insist they were still gravely ill. If George were a merchant, perhaps his duplicity might be overlooked. But George was the village's only doctor. His lies bled the villagers dry, their meager savings swallowed by his false promises and exaggerated prognoses. Then one autumn, a traveling scholar, known for his keen insight, arrived in Oakhaven. He quickly discerned George's pathological deceit. The scholar saw not just a liar, but a parasite feeding on fear and desperation. He decided the doctor needed to be dealt with. The scholar began by subtly challenging George's diagnoses, planting seeds of doubt among the villagers. He shared ancient remedies that actually worked, undermining George's elaborate, expensive treatments. Whispers grew. George's reputation began to crumble. He became agitated, his lies more desperate, his attempts to discredit the scholar increasingly frantic and transparent. One crisp October morning, George was found in his surgery, slumped over his desk. A small, dark vial lay clutched in his hand. The cause of death was officially listed as heart failure, though a few villagers muttered about a strange, sweet smell lingering in the room. His funeral was poorly attended. He had accumulated a small fortune from his deceit, but now it was his turn to pay. And so on a bleak autumn day, a new headstone appeared in Oakhaven's small cemetery. It simply read, Dr. George. He paid his dues. The villagers were initially relieved. They used George's ill-gotten savings to hire a new doctor, a charming young man with bright, enthusiastic eyes, who arrived with a seemingly boundless energy and a fresh perspective on medicine. He quickly gained their trust, offering reassurance and affordable treatments. But as the days turned into weeks, a subtle chill began to settle over Oakhaven. The new doctor, Dr. Elias Thorne, had an unnerving habit of lingering a little too long. When a patient expressed a new symptom, his smile, though friendly, never quite reached his eyes. And more than once, villagers swore they heard him humming a strange, tuneless melody as he walked through the quiet streets at dusk. A melody that sounded eerily similar to the one George had hummed in his final desperate days. Patients rarely recovered quickly under Dr. Thorne's care. Their illnesses seemed to linger, their symptoms subtly shifting, becoming more complex, more interesting. He didn't demand exorbitant fees like George, but he began to request unusual samples for his research. A lock of hair, a drop of blood, a fingernail clipping. Just for his records, he'd say, his bright eyes gleaming with an unsettling curiosity. The villagers comforted themselves that at least he wasn't a liar. But sometimes, as the nights grew longer and the wind howled through the skeletal trees, they couldn't shake the feeling that perhaps, just perhaps, they had traded one kind of predator for another. One who didn't want their money, but something far, far more valuable.